There is a secret. How much money did you make last year?
Oh, me? Like me or the
The
company?
company. Okay. So, company. Is that the truth?
Yeah, it's right around there.
Okay. So, what are you supposed to be doing right now?
Right now, I should be ordering a server for a client. I should be putting a bid sheet together. I should be editing a video I shot just before I left for the build conference. But I did get their photos done for a restaurant, but we did a whole cool interview with them that's going to go on their website. That's all sitting there in a queue of things Tom should be doing, along with all my build stuff and the fact that I haven't posted on YouTube in a week, which I've been trying to keep steady content, but but I created all kinds of content at Build. We had a lot of fun.
That sounds like me. I've been doing a lot of content, but keep forgetting to post.
Yeah.
So I have to edit, and like this trip I've been on, I took a lot of video, but I haven't been anywhere to edit. I got to bed
Yeah.
at 2 a.m. last night, and I was here at 7:50, 8 o'clock.
Yep.
So
Yeah,
I mean,
you're at 8 o'clock. So yeah, and it's a lot to do. All that the editing is the hard part. I collect information. Matter of fact, we have all time lapses of building this building, and so everyone's been saying, "Hey, can we see more? Can we see more?" And I'm like, I really haven't had a chance because all the videos are collected. I just haven't had to publish them.
and that's also tough too because you want it to look right. You don't just want to publish something halfway.
Yeah, I spent a lot of time editing my content and putting it together. So it's one of those things, like, it's all about production value to me because I've always hated YouTube videos where someone just rambles on for 2 hours and doesn't cut out anything that was unnecessary. Maybe they had some good content for 2 hours, but you know better. You've seen enough videos. You're like, yeah, I want to fast forward. Just tell me the part where you talk about the thing I want to know. So I try to make my videos as long as they need to be. There's not like a time length I set. I just look at anything that's fluff that I cut out. So my PF Sense videos are really long because there's so much detail in them, but they're 2 hours cut down to an hour and a half. Anytime I or paused, I edit that, so I meticulously went over all the videos.
Yeah, I try to do a lot of that, and I get a lot of jumping because I say a lot of, I start my conversation over. When the worst part is when I'm in my car and, it's not like I can stop with a video that I'm making and just make it look the same. I'm driving when I'm talking, so it makes it really hard to make a clean cut. So
Yeah.
I don't do them as well as like some of those other YouTubers like Casey Neistat sits there and does these harsh cuts, but it works so well for him.
He's I can't remember the name of the guy, but I watched his videos too. He's another film artist. Casey Neistat is very original, but his editing style, there's a video where he talks about where he got his editing style from, and it's another director. And if you watch that guy's videos, he does the same break cuts. And I like that, so that you've seen, if you watch some of my YouTube videos, you've seen I've done some of those same break cuts. And it's what I like. I look at the things I like and elements I put together from other YouTubers, where I go, I love the way they break cut. I love transition. I love the time lapses. So when we started doing our production videos for our marketing, that's what we put in those, is time lapse in the beginning to kind of give you an overview of what the project. So the beginning, the first 10 15 seconds of the video, maybe there's a part where I roll in and say, hey, I'm going to explain how we're going to do something, and then I'm going to do a time lapse of the thing being done, and then the rest of it's kind of an explainer. So it's really weird because some of the largest projects we did this company that, it was a $35,000 wiring project, and the video was 4 minutes.
Is that the one you took the drone through?
Yeah, that includes drone footage and everything. It's a really cool building, but at some point, and I thought about making this, I realized there's some people that maybe want to know more detail about actually how you punch a panel down, so we're going to do some more of those videos. I was just noticing, there's a lot of people messaging me that, so I'm like, okay, we'll get some more detailed ones, because this is more created for marketing and to showcase product, but it's really funny because some of the longer videos are explaining smaller projects.
Yeah.
Because people are interested in them.
Well, that and your technical stuff. I don't think your clients necessarily care how to configure a PFSense box. So
Right.
That's more for you and your enjoyment of getting that information out.
Yeah.
So I think that, like in the punch down section, I think that if you were to go and do a way you punch it down.
Yeah.
And then you show how to do it in slow motion, because I'm guessing you're a little faster than you would show them how to do it. So,
well, and it's actually my place because I am super slow at punching down. This is something I completely had to hire for because I've always loathed any type of cabling and wiring. My first tech job in the early 90s was IBM Twin Axe, where you had to use the ohm meters to cap the BNC connectors to set the ohms for each one of the segments you're doing. I don't know if you've ever done any of that work.
I haven't, no.
It's tedious and awful. You used to use cable crimpers because it's coax.
Yeah.
And it's coax, and you had to balance it. It was a lot of work to make all that work. Token ring networks.
On to hiring people. I've talked with you in the past, and you said that you hire people. You have like contractors, I think, that you have do some wire.
They work exclusively for me, so they don't have other jobs.
But they essentially have their own hours. They make their own rules. You give them a job layout, and they have to complete it in their way as a contractor would. But you're giving them the rules of how you want the job done for your project, and basically they're filling the labor side of it, and you kind of.
It allows me to pay them. This is the big thing: is I don't want them to be hourly. I want them to be piecework. And it works out really well for them because that way I don't dictate how long it takes to pull the cable. There's a price when we do a bid together. We put the bid together, and it is, all the details are laid out. They know exactly how much that job pays. Like they know, the job was $32,000. Their cut is X. Bottom line. Then they have to figure it out from there. And the way it works, it becomes a subdivision of labor because Corey, being my head guy for all the wiring and longtime friend, I give it to Corey, and Corey can make the decision of how much can I do on my own or how much do I have to let out again. And I know all the guys that because they're all friends. And so the other people Corey brings in to make the project complete is all the division of the pay he's getting because the project's only paying him this much.
Yeah.
But it's paying him quite well. So, and it's because it's a fixed amount and it has to work in the end. There's this incentive not to screw it up. He doesn't get paid to go back a second time for a wire that doesn't work. He figures out the most efficient way to do it, the most efficient way to use all the cable and everything else, and everybody wins. I guess that's always been a thing. I'm an efficiency crazy person. Sure. So when I say that, so I worked in corporate for a number of years, and that's where I would go around and I observe things. This is what I would do in corporate. This is literally paid me to do this because they knew how I was and how obsessive I was. I would sit in different areas of the company and watch people work for a couple hours. Occasionally I set up time-lapse cameras to watch them work all day, which always made them nervous. They said, "Are you spying?" Or, "No, not at all." I would look and count keystrokes. And then we had a software development team that I managed. So I would then go over the software development team and say, how can we reduce the number of keystrokes it takes to complete this task? So we're in transportation. So how can we reduce the number of keystrokes it takes to enter a bill of lading? How can we reduce this? So we made some big dynamic shifts in the company based on software we wrote where we decided, why do we have one girl who keys in all the bill of ladings? We have 250 truck drivers. Why don't they key in the bill of ladings? Why don't they do it inside the truck? Why don't they do it with a terminal? So we designed an entire system where the drivers did that. And then we had the problem of, okay, well, the drivers are going to get it wrong because they don't do it all the time. So no, let's change it to fuzzy logic. We wrote an algorithm that looked at the previous, any driver for one area is going to have a series of numbers. And for that pickup, so if it's the Ford Louisville, Kentucky plant, anything that doesn't within a close percentage of the fuzzy logic we wrote didn't match, it would kick back that you may have had a typo. Are you sure this is correct? And it would solve the correct. So we went up to a 99.9% accuracy.
Oh, wow.
We delegated the work. We were able to have a company that was able to bill $37 million a year with 3 people in accounting.
Jeez.
So that's the kind of obsessiveness. So when I started my company, we wrote our own software for some of this. We're using the wiki with a series of templates, with discussion pages and everything else, literally off-the-shelf wiki with some customization, which I did a video on, because everything is about how quickly can we get information out to the client, what are any roadblocks technologically that keep my employees from being efficient. So everything is like that here. So it's...
Yeah, we'll link to that video in the description below and show them that wiki so they can see that. You were showing me your invoicing system and stuff. Have you done any videos on that?
A little bit, and I might do more. So my goal is, some people are like, oh, can you give away the code? Yes. The code is a complete disaster, is why it's not on GitHub. It's a total pile of, there's cussing, there is, my favorite line is hackety hack, I have no idea why this works. So there's a lot of that going on. So my goal is to eventually give it away, but I actually found another open source project that looks very similar to our point of sale, and I got to reach out to the guy. It's just on my to-do list again, because he followed a similar concept, and I want to kind of merge it together. Because and what I was showing you before, to give some people some context for it, is we have a really simple. Actually, I've covered our numbering system and how we use the little
I know I
price
saw
gun.
I saw the price gun one on there.
And it allows me to instantly pull up all the information about a client history, customer history. So from phone call to answers of I got a computer from you 3 years ago. Oh, I showed you we can look by phone number. We'll load a phone number and we'll say, yeah, you bought a Dell Inspiron, used this, had this much memory in it, and you did this here. Then you came back 6 months later and we did a virus removal. And it was like, wow, you really got a good memory. Like, no, it's in the system. Like, it's all.
Yeah, you document everything.
Document everything. So in documentation, I came from the ISO world of the automotives where everything was a process, procedure, and document.
Yeah.
So I brought that with me where everything has to be documented.
I mean, it looks good. It looks like it meshes quite a few systems. So, I mean, I'd be interested when it goes open source, to take a look at it as well. I mean, it's not even industry specific, really. I mean, from what you showed me, it could do a lot for a lot of industries. Yes. I mean, of course, you probably have some tailored features because of electronics since you made it, but it's something that looks like it would probably...
I haven't really come across. There's one up and coming for restaurants that's open source it's focused on the restaurant industry, which I thought was kind of cool. But there's not anything I found that I really said, "Wow, this is intuitive or easy to use or efficient." It's for just general point of sale systems that you, like you said, you use for anyone who's in the service business, really.
Yeah.
And that's because we have no inventory control system on it, which. We eventually talked about building one, but really we don't keep a ton of inventory. That's not, I can look out front and go, you see how small my retail space is. Not a ton of stuff in there. So
I know we were on a little Zoom with Lisa a while back, and we were talking about retail spaces, and it's funny because one of the things you were looking for in one of your buildings was a big retail space in one of the shopping centers you were looking at. And now we end up, when I came in today, we have a very small retail space compared to what you had in the past.
Yeah, it's look, we downsized a little bit on retail space, made it a little prettier. We wanted to be in a place because that had a lot of foot traffic, so we did look at different shopping centers, but it's mostly to get them to bring their computers in, more than anything else, because that's where we make the money on the retail, is repairing computers, because nobody backs up anything, ever. Even we've had the same customers who've been hit more than once, like they lost all their crap. We sometimes were able to send it out to data recovery and get it back. We actually have a photographer who's spent a fortune on repairing hard drives more than once. They didn't learn the first time, the second time, or the third time. And each time they spent over $1,000 in data recovery to get hard drives that had just fallen off desks or super disorganized and just dropped the hard drive off the desk.
And when you tell them about, online backup or something along those lines, they just scoff at it. They don't want to pay an annual fee.
Yep.
I mean,
I won't drop it again. That's the 3 times they won't drop it again. $3,000 worth of data recovery plus,
In the consumer space, we get people lose things time and time again, and we're like, we sell Carbonite at our store, and we tell them, hey, $69 you can do, or $59 you can have an annual fee of $60. You're ready to go. It backs it up on the cloud. If you've got DSL or better, you're good.
Yep.
And it's okay. We'll think about it. And they just don't. They don't think about it.
It's really weird. And then they're oh my gosh, I lost all my children's photos since they were born for the last 5 years because I never backed anything up. I'm like, I feel bad for all the people that I have to say, your stuff's just gone. The hard drive clicks, it bangs, it's whatever. And but you're right. They know, and I never. You don't want to ever rub it in, but you're like, I told you so when you were here 6 months ago that this would happen.
We did that to. I had a friend out in Oregon. And there's a gentleman on those ITBOG forums that I'd found that he was up in Oregon. I black screen, white letters is what my friend had. I said, don't touch it, turn it off, take it to these guys. She failed to describe that it clicked when that when she was turning it on, it was clicking. So when he turned it on, it was clicking. So I was kind of interested to see how that went, and he told me yesterday he hasn't heard anything back about new computers or data recovery or any of that stuff. So we'll see. I mean, sometimes people have to take a break, realize how much data is really worth to them. The people that want it now don't want to pay for it. Guy called my store the other day and said, I need my data. I need these pictures, whatever the cost. He had a bad hard drive. We tried 3 or 4 different, methods to pull the partitioning information, and it was just too far gone. So we told him we had to send it out to a data recovery place, probably firmware related or something along those lines. It's not physically making noise or anything. didn't want to pay the $700. I mean, it's relatively cheap compared to a lot of the other data recovery places. So trying to get those those numbers to meet clients' expectations in the consumer market. Now the business market,
they're more apt to pay in that market.
The SMB and up, the Sohos don't want to pay, but the SMB and up usually want to pay.
Yeah, they're used to it. But it's funny, we have an accounting firm that we got because of their lack of backups, because they were going to their backup drive failed. This is we've had them on a client for like 10 years. They didn't really have any cloud backup. Their backup drive failed. Their IT guy, who was half the price of me, I'm going to fix it. I'm going to fix it. And when their hard drive, they thought they were fine on a RAID array. The RAID array failed. The whole controller got broke. It had fried 2 of the drives with it, so it was really a messy system. Cost them $6,000 for recovery from the data recovery people. They were able to rebuild the RAID array. But it's funny because when I got there to pick up the server, there was a dusty, still sealed in plastic, brand new hard drive that the guy was going to install. And I had done work before, because when the other guy would disappear, which was frequent, I would go out there and say, hey, Dennis didn't install this. Like, yeah, we know. I said, I'll do it for an extra or whatever and set it up and confirm it's working. No, we don't want to pay you that. Dennis charged like half what you charge. You really need to bring your rates down, Tom. And I'm like, yeah, but I'm here now because Dennis disappeared again, right? And they're like, yeah, he did. And I'm like, okay.
They always want that lower rate technician, but they want the higher rate service. It doesn't make a lot of sense to me.
Yeah. We're never afraid. I'm not going to say be obnoxious, but we're never afraid to really let clients know. Too many businesses start and they price them like, I'm going to beat everyone with price. Anyone who tries to tell me to beat my price, I tell them to go away. You're going to just beat yourself up. Unless you have a more innovative process to reduce the price, if you're just doing the same work, you don't have a better price. You're just killing yourself for nothing. So we'd have a guy that he's seen our videos and he goes, you guys do amazing work. And we get there and we realize someone started wiring this huge building. It's 300 drops and everything else, big medical facility being built, and everything's in the middle of it. And he says, we lost our wiring contractor. I said, no, you hired someone cheap. And everything is run in a horrible way. Like even the bridle rings, like we're surprised they use them, but everything's put wrong. The J-hooks are wrong. Everything is like just draped and not pulled tight. So they want us to do it, but he wants us to match that other price that they were quoted from the other guys that are doing the basically horrible work. Yeah. So it's one of those things. I'm just very hard with them. Like, no, you want this work? Well, look, man, I'm going to give you all this business. I mean, this could be $100,000 relationship just for these next few projects I got. I go, but $100,000 means nothing to me if it's no margin in it. It's just, I'm not here to shuffle money. I'm here to make money. And we care about our work. My guys got to feed their families. I got a family to feed. We're not robbing anyone. We're not charging like above market price. But these guys came in and were by far the cheapest bidder apparently. But once he's seen the work, I guess he fired him. He's like, this work is just that bad. And we've seen it. We're like, it is. We can't believe what it looks like.
I think that's one of the struggles that a lot of even new computer businesses have. I mean, there's the podcast that we both listen to, and they're new computer business owner geared towards a lot of that small business Soho type work, and I feel like a lot of techs when they start off they do go towards the lower market.
Yeah, you're right. So many techs they just I'm gonna beat on price. I'm gonna win on price. I'm gonna be the cheapest guy in town. And it's funny because my previous store there were 3 computer stores that opened up right by me. And we moved out of that area and moved to this new building, but only one was left.
Yeah.
And one of them would literally go on my website, and anything we did, he would even use my same AdWords, like the same text and everything, and similar graphics to the way we do our advertising, and copy it, but cut the price by 30-40%. And he eventually tanked. And I talked to one of the people who worked for him, and he was like, yeah, he wasn't making any money at all. And I'm like, I'm shocked. I said, my prices are reasonable, so for him to go 40% less, I'm like, what are you trying to do?
I think when I started my business in 2009, I started with $45 virus removals, and then we jumped up quickly to $69. We held $69 for a long time. About 2014, by the time we raised our prices up to $99, and we're still probably even lower than you. I mean, what are your virus removal prices?
We have a reload rate of only a flat rate of 60 for the reloads, and the virus removals are between 80 and 100 depending if we have to back up any data.
Okay, so you actually charge less for your reloads.
Because this goes back to my efficiencies. How long does it take you to reload a computer?
Well, again, I'm guessing you're going towards the images part
Yeah.
of things, where you have an image and so on. But it did take you time to build and maintain those images. So,
Having high-end computers and be able to remaster images very quickly, we can deploy computers in 11 minutes, 6 if they're SSDs, complete reloads with all patches and everything installed, and has Chrome installed, has all the accessories. Because when we build our images, everything's in them, everything's done. It's just throw it on there. It's sys prepped, so it just loads up, prompts for username, license key, save, done, boom, ship. So being able, when people just bring them in real quick, we can turn and burn them really fast.
okay.
So that's goes back to if you, I charge less than some of the other people, but I'm doing it in a way that is more efficient than other people, so I can charge less. So it goes back to people say, "Oh, you cut your price just to gain market share." It's like, no, I came up with an efficient process. I said we're rocking out 20, 30 computers in a week, and my guys have time to play Command and Conquer. I mean, just. You can do that if you're real efficient because everything's automated. It's PXE boot, so it's off the server in the back, my server stack. So they boom hit PXE boot, boom done. All right, wait a few minutes. All right, and then we have a local. Recently because it all changed, we changed it. But local update servers we've used. So any updates that may not be there still done automatically through another script we have and done. Set it on the shelf. Call them. Matter of fact, don't even call them. System text them when they're done to come pick up your computer. So you create this entire efficiency around it and you do it at scale. Now, one tech is making me, if he can do 10 computers easily in a day, one tech can make me $600 a day.
Okay.
So now I'm efficient enough with those. And that's just if I do 60. If it's add-ons to the data backup or a virus removal.
Of course, you've got the data backups and then
Yeah.
So basically, you're trying to sell the data backup. Your reloads are Are you a shop that goes for reload first and then clean for viruses, or do you try to get people to clean the viruses up? I mean, again, I know it comes down to the efficiency of their computer. It always works better after you clean them up and get them from fresh.
We really push for the reloads a lot because it's time consuming to do virus removal. We tell customers that you're going to pay more for it because it's so time consuming. But so many people that come in, it's mostly they don't have a grasp on technology. So I have a virus sometimes is met with, no, you don't. You have one little thing installed or one little pop-up, or you change something like they installed Chromium instead of Chrome with all the stupid plugins in it. So some of the stuff when we look at it, we're like, this is just so easy to clean. So it becomes a quick virus removal at that point too. We run a few scripts. We're like, boom, 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 knock this out real quick. And once you do things in volume, you get techs who are really, really fast at doing it because it's this the number of computers that come in, the number of phone calls we come in. I did a whole video just how many phone calls we get. I mean, we it's just doing everything at volume to be able to keep up with it. You get really good at it, and because of the way we document here and the way we have like step-by-step procedures on the way we do things, it comes back to documentation and efficiency again. Me watching and figure out what's the most effective way I can do it. And then I hired other people who also think like me and think everything, how few steps can I make this and be efficient at it so I can get back to playing Command and Conquer. So I don't know why that's the latest game they've been playing.
So we've talked about efficiency throughout the day before this video and during this video, and it seems like that's the real way that you combat a lot of the cost in this Detroit metro area. We talked about rent costs. Rent costs are extremely high in the area. Yeah. Even if you own your own building, the tax rate will kill you and suffocate you. Yeah. The rent rates are out insane. Even in Chrisfield, rent rates are insane. So I think anybody watching this, if they go to move from their home office to a building, $1 a square foot's cheap, but they're probably expecting $2 a square foot.
And like you pointed out, where's your sign, Tom? Yeah, we're a month over 2 months in this building waiting on city permits because the cities have this entire scrutinizing process. I mean, before we can get even occupancy in the building, we had to submit a layout, including where we plan to put tables and chairs. They wanted that in the layout that was there. Then after we get the occupancy permit that we paid $400 for, the next step is, here's another few $100 for a sign permit. You have to submit all your designs. You can't even put window stickers on without submitting the design for the city for approval, which takes forever. So we're like a month in. And it's funny, we called the sign people, we're like, well, what's the ETA? And they go, I don't know, we submitted some before you for the same city, and we still haven't got those back yet either. Jeez. So if that gives you any scale. And they said they don't know. Randomly, the city will do a bunch at once. They let sign things stack up. Like, they have no concern that you don't have a new sign, your new business doesn't have a sign. So some people have opened new businesses and had to work out deals with the landlord. They pay for 2 months, and they don't have, technically they're not legally open because they're waiting on permits.
Yeah, that permitting process we talked about was crazy.
It's a money grab.
I mean, it was hard finding you. I mean, you're right
Yeah.
next to the car wash for anybody watching
Yeah.
this and trying to find you. There's an insurance company and a car wash, and you know,
Yeah.
the Google GPS brings you here. You have to look for Tom's car if he's here
It's
working.
looking at my car. Well, it's always, I live here pretty much. I'm here more than hours in my house. So.
I've wondered that sometimes because I know you wake up really early in the morning. You
Yep.
told me when you came in here, and you know, I know you like to get work done when it's quiet around here,
Yep.
and you know, you stay late and you come here on weekends. You know.
Yeah, we built the studio. We built this, and I love creating content. And that's part of the idea of one of our concepts within the building is we've built out a larger content creation space because I plan to really get big on content creation. And I say that more than I say YouTube because it doesn't matter what platform I'm creating content. You know, YouTube's the big guy in town today, but with the ad boycott and everything going on, who knows? Twitch is actually coming up really big too because, well, if YouTube can't make people happy, people are finding ways to get their content out on Twitch.
Yeah, and I mean even the
Facebook is getting into it too. Facebook is actually going to start. They're working on a whole creators compensation thing for Facebook. I don't know when they're going to roll it out, but they're going to do like YouTube, where they do an ad revenue split for you and everything else on Facebook. So once again, the focus is we're content creation, media creation. It's, you know, instead of having a marketing department, we have a media creation team. You know, it's me and Marvin and some of the other guys. We create content that makes you feel more personal, more connected with us. We give you the storyline because it's not just about. There's plenty of companies that do wiring, but you know, you can see our personal touches. We showcase our work. We make it fun. You can see we have fun doing what we do. So this is, you know, we're enjoying this. We like Corey loves wiring. Corey, well, he's so proud when he's done of how perfect everything looks in the server rooms and the wiring, or clever ways he did, or you know, one of popular videos is when we chose the color scheme. We special ordered colored cables to match the company colors and worked with the general contractor and architectural firm and matched everything. So our cabling is showcased as part of how it integrates into their desk, how it integrates into the ceiling. It's all exposed as opposed to hidden.
Yeah, I mean, and that helps bring a lot of company culture. And speaking of company culture, I know we've watched your videos. We've watched, you know, we've chatted in private, we've chatted in public, and the company culture here is one that's unusual for a lot of companies. You guys eat together. You
Yeah.
guys, you know, you guys have lunch. I haven't seen it yet, but isn't there a kitchen here?
Yeah, there's a kitchen. You didn't go.
So you guys actually make food for lunchtime
Oh, yeah.
when everybody's here, so that you know you all can eat together. Now, do you close your store during that period of time? So
Nope.
you stay open. Somebody runs up there,
Yep.
grabs the help of a customer, comes back, grabs a bite.
We've
but-
invited customers to come eat with us.
There you go.
I ain't lying.
There you go. So I mean that's just something you don't see a lot. I mean you see people that are, you know, disconnected from companies, and we've watched videos and, you know, interacted with your staff, and it just seems like that company culture comes together with them.
That's really big. It's having company culture, and people don't realize how important it is. You work in corporate or something, it's soul sucking. It's you just get this disconnected feeling, so there's no passion you have for the company. You're like, 5 o'clock rolls around at 5:01, this place doesn't exist. You know, you get that kind of mentality from the people because there's no passion in it. I mean, you're just a paycheck at that point. You know, I've gotten other people, they've worked other places, and they've worked for some large corporate places like I have, and it's so aggravating dealing with someone when there's a lack of culture. Now, I was lucky because the last corporate place I worked at had a good company culture overall. You know, they had some other issues financially, but they had some company culture, and that really said, okay, let's see how I can bring that in when I build a business. And there's just one of my favorite company culture stories is there's a book called Delivering Happiness, the Zappos story.
Okay, yeah.
Read that. Go visit Zappos in Vegas if you haven't.
Zappa, I've seen the warehouse, never actually been there.
Go
They
for
took
it.
over one of the old City Hall buildings
Yep.
downtown, which was really neat. I mean, interesting that City Hall couldn't hold their place there, but Zappos can. But
Yeah. Yeah, so there's a whole you have that idea, you bring that in, and it really makes a difference because one, they all care about the projects, they care about the company, they care about getting things done. You work as a team, you're more comfortable with the people you work with, because it's one of the things like. There's some companies have culture, but then they go, no, we got to cut off. Like only management can be in this inner circle of coolness, you know. But anyone outside of management is just a peon who collects paycheck. Well, if you don't create that passion from, you know, the the feet on the ground, the people who interact with the customers, all the way up to the top, then I think you have a big disconnect. And that's where, like, you look at Zappos model, and I've been doing this since before Zappos. They just did it way better than me. Being able to create all that, I mean, they've done an amazing job, and it's really inspirational to see that. And it's like realizing the importance of it. It makes it more fun. So I like coming to work. They like coming to work. The guys actually walked in, if you didn't notice, early. They don't walk in at 9:59 when they're required. They're here at like 9:40, 20 minutes earlier. So it's because I bet there's food that Steve brought in. It's probably sitting over there, and just, it's more fun that way.
So company culture, I hear that the rumor is you have to like spicy stuff to work here. Is that like on the job application?
Yeah, it should be. So far we've been lucky. We've hired everybody that's like spicy foods. With a couple exceptions, Melissa and Cass aren't as much into it. Not like we are. But we take it to a new level. Like, we'll go do a food challenge somewhere and just crush it. Like, you got to sign a waiver for this burger, and Steve goes, I will eat that burger without taking a drink. That's like this smart-ass spout. And he did. And it's funny, the waitress is like, wow, you ate the entire burger. And he goes, didn't touch my Pepsi yet.
and apparently you got like a 1 or 2 ounce bottle of some...
Yeah, sign a waiver for that.
Some sort of sauce, Reaper sauce or something?
Yeah, that was the Carolina Reaper sauce. When I traveled, I found a place that had there was a hot sauce shop that was pretty cool. So I had to sign a waiver to buy this sauce, and then they had crushed Carolina Reaper peppers soaked beef jerky.
Oh,
so we ate that yesterday too. That was so good. That was we're sitting there sweating, going, "This is some good beef jerky."
So since you know most of the people here like spicy, the ones that do, like Marvin or some of the other employees, do you ever sneak them something spicy that, is super spicy to try to trick them?
No, haven't. Well, Marvin didn't expect yesterday just how hot that was. So he was complaining that yesterday he put his pinky finger, just a tiny drop on there, and he paced around and sweated around the shop and cussed a lot. But apparently when he was eating later today, and he's washed his finger a bunch of times, it's still, when he dipped his finger in something else and tasted it, it's still on his finger a day later, 24 hours later. That's awesome.
That's some hot stuff.
That is.
Needless to say, I'm not a fan of spicy, so...
Yeah. Yeah, we don't bother tricking anyone for that. But we eat a lot of Indian food. It's funny because the restaurants, so we made videos, and some of the restaurants have reshared my videos out that we've made and reached out to us and commented on the things we do. So we get to know all the restaurants because they were like, look, you got to try and make it spicier. We're like, no, our hot's hot. Like, no, your hot's probably hot for like the average person who comes in here. I need next level hot. So we get to actually meet the owners and cooks and things like that. It becomes a way to engage with them because they like it that we're enjoying their food, and they like the challenge of making something different for us.
Exactly. Carry a bottle of Tom's sauce in the back somewhere.
Tom's sauce on there. Exactly.
That's what all the restaurants are going to have to start carrying. Do you want Tom's sauce with that?
Yeah, I'm like, and if they said a Red Hot on there, I'm like, you didn't bring me a full bottle. They're like, well, it's a half bottle. I said, no, that's why I said it's not a full bottle. I need some. I use it like ketchup on my hash browns. If it ain't soaked in it, man.
Well, I think we've learned a lot from you today, and I think we'll go ahead and wrap this up and get on our trip. I've got to go meet a couple other people, one from the ITBOG group, and go down to an ASCII event and meet some more people up in this area of the world. And
yeah, too bad you don't have time to drive up to Saginaw. There's 2 more guys from the ITBOG up there.
Oh, okay, yeah. I love coming to Detroit. As you know, I'm a Detroit Lions fan. I got thrilled. I got to walk through Ford Field one time. Tigers game was going on, so they had the gift shop open, but you have to get into the gift shop from the other side. So you literally had free reign of the field the whole time you were in there.
I wish you had more time. I'd give you a whole tour of the city of Detroit and show you some of the cool restaurants and stuff.
I'm sure we'll be back at some point. We always look for conferences in Detroit. Sadly, Detroit hasn't built itself back up into the conference world yet.
Not in
but
the tech world.
I hear they're getting a lot of tech companies up here, so it's possible.
Well, Detroit Startup Week started last year. If you're not familiar with Startup Week, there's a handful of big cities that do this, and what the Startup Weeks is it's a place for entrepreneurs to meet with other entrepreneurs, like the up and starting ones, and they put this big thing together. So when Detroit launched their Startup Week, it was the largest of any city's inaugural Startup Week. So it's turning into a pretty big tech event because we have all these big names here, all these big companies. We're building out a lot of tech here. So yeah, we may have some events here. Microsoft's going in one Dan Gilbert's building. They're building a big event here.
Wow.
When I was at the Microsoft conference, we suggested that Detroit be their next destination.
Jeez.
This stuff hurts.
And that's the one that you had to sign a waiver for, right?
Sign a
there?
waiver. We didn't have to sign a waiver. This is just some. We ate all the other one apparently.
My pinky is still spicy from dipping it in there yesterday.
Yeah.
I've washed this hand 10 times since.
This
then.
is the blazing hot beef.
You should watch where you stick that pinky.
Tell me about it. Tell you what.
And then this is Carolina Reaper peppers, ground up, and it's really good. You season things with it. Well, we do. It's this is.
Or if you're being attacked, throw it in the person's eyes.
You can't throw it in the eyes. Then we have our curries and everything else under here. Like we go and get like genuine. We go to Indian grocers to buy all the curry stuff because they're the only people that can make stuff spicy enough for us. Then what else we have? Oh, more of our. We have a fridge coming. Imagine fridge here. We only moved in this place not that long ago, but we keep a lot of food in here. Habanero cheese and you know what? This blazing sauce is surprisingly hot. It's from Buffalo Wild Wings. I highly recommend it. If not that we have was that El Yucateco habanero and the Thai roasted chili peppers. This is basically it's a collection of hot sauces. If we don't cook, we'll order food, or one of us will bring food.
And then you'll just throw everything on top of it.
Throw everything on top of all the condiments here. Well, I only live. If I ride my bike, it takes me like 13 minutes to get here, and about 4 minutes by car.
Oh, wow.
I live down the street, so.
I think that's a running theme with us computer techs because Steven lives about 4 minutes from his shop. I live maybe less from my shop. The speed limits on a rural road are so low that it takes me a while. But I live 4 blocks from my shop, and it takes me about 5 minutes by car. So I think that's a theme with technicians. We want to live close to work.
It is because I've been lucky because even when I worked in corporate, my car wasn't even warm by the time I got to work. When I worked in corporate, I worked 2 miles or maybe 3 miles away. It would be further for me to hit the Tim Hortons so I can get coffee on the way to work. But then my first store was behind my house, where I lived in the neighborhood. At the end of the street was there, so I used to not have to drive my car. If I needed even to go to a tech, I could walk home. I didn't have to use a parking lot. So
that's not the store that you just moved from.
That's the one we just moved from.
Just moved from.
Yeah, my first store. But then in between, while I had that store, I moved to a new house.
Oh, okay.
So now my new house is by this store.
So you moved to a better neighborhood, is what
I
you did.
Oh yeah.
Because we heard the stories about that old neighborhood.
My old neighborhood's rough. So I moved to a completely different neighborhood, and in much bigger, a little bigger house. We had more kids to stick in it, so we had to get a bigger house and a bigger yard. But now the kids are all moving out, so now I want a smaller house. And actually, I just want condos. I don't like doing yard work.
Once you get him going, he just keeps.
None of us want to shut up. We have so many things that we have to play with and touch.
Yeah.
And make. Was it Morty here or is it
Rick? Oh yeah, that would be
Rick
here.
from Rick and
Yeah,
Morty.
that would totally be Rick here.
Oh man, you know what though? Our goal is going to be the most fun place you ever interviewed. That would be a goal.
There you go. The first one and the funnest one, right?
Yes.
I was just coming through to get Pop-Tarts, so.
Oh, Pop-Tarts.
Pop-Tarts sound good.
Yeah.
And I will preface. Normally this is more clean. Well, not normally, because nothing's been clean since we moved in.
I was going to say, you just moved in. This table's in the same place it was when you said you were going to move the table. So,
yeah. So it's kind of, it lives here now. We clear it, and each one's more project we've been organizing everything in the building.
Those are all my home projects.
Yeah, Steve's got his home projects here.
It was clean Thursday.
Something we haven't done yet, we were going to fly the drone around the office. That's still on the to-do list. I got the batteries and everything out, so.
Drone go.
I'm just curious. Is this part of your home projects?
That's a sad piece of his home project.
The Windows Vista era?
Oh no, that was rebuilt. I just used the case. I like the case.
You like the case?
I like the case.
I hate that case.